Are you looking to level up your author business?
Are you pounding your head against a wall, wondering what your next step should be? Then join me, Daniel Wilcox.
And me, Sacha Black, as we haul ass each week in a bid to level up.
Level up!
Come along for the ride as we delve deep into the business of writing,
Craft,
entrepreneurship,
and every level of the author journey. This is the Next Level Author Podcast.
Hello Achievers, and welcome to episode number 78 of the Next Level Authors Podcast, a podcast where we hold each other to account and track our step-by-step progress as we level up our author business. I didn't even read that one. My name is Daniel Wilcox, and here with me some weeks, and hopefully all the weeks,
Starbucks Black.
Starbucks Black. That's what you go with. Starbucks Black.
Why not?
I'm trying to think of something clever with Penelope, but it's too early in my morning for that.
Yeah.
How the devil are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I am actually good. I am a lot better than I was last week.
Good. You're giving it some of it to me, so thank you.
What? Yeah. Oh, is this the how has your week been bit? Is that where we're at? Oh, okay. Yeah. So,
that's generally like we normally say hi, and then it's like, how are you? So that's kind of where we're at now. Yeah.
Yeah, I clearly haven't had enough caffeine. Yeah, so how am I? I am like 1,000 miles ahead of where I was last week. So I paid for a one-to-one coaching session on strengths, of course, it was strengths. And like they are voodoo magic, brain magic. Like it is amazing shit. It's like pouring crack into your brain.
Highly recommended, by the way.
Yeah, less crack, more strengths coaching. No, I like, I am in love with strengths. I am in love with the stuff that it does for my brain. So where am I at? What has happened? Okay, so like the reason I'm so deliriously happy is because I have been shutting down projects. So obviously it's been a very long period of too many tracks open, and it's definitely been a lesson learned. I am not going to do that again. I will probably always manage multiple projects, but not at the level that I'm at now. So that's the number one thing, and we'll go into what I've shut down, I'm sure, as we go through. And so the other thing is I'm having a lot of fun saying no, and I finally found the joy of no, which I don't think I've ever experienced before. But like now I have a goal and a thing that I really want to do, like saying no has become a lot easier. And I have learned that I am one of these people that needs a why. Why am I doing the thing? Not everybody needs that. I also learned that. I thought everybody had a why, but they don't, and that's okay. But yeah, I am somebody who absolutely needs a why, including why am I finishing this book? Why am I working on that series? Why am I running this podcast? Why should I don't know, why should I reply to this email? Because I have such a big why for a big project that I'm not talking about yet, it has enabled me to say no to so many things. And I am so fucking thrilled about saying no. So this is like massive for me. I'm really happy. Yeah, so that's good. And then like I'm trying to think what else has happened this week. I don't know. Shall I say the things I finished? Should we do that here?
Yeah, blast through them. Hell yeah. Okay,
so I finished my audiobook. I finished my audiobook. I cannot tell you how much joy it has given me to finish a massive project. So yeah, I finished the audiobook. That is now with the guy who's going to do the mastering. So I'm very relieved that is done. And I
shout out Carl Hughes because he's an absolute audio wizard.
He is. And if you want your audiobook mastered, you should go to him. We should probably put a link in the show notes to
theotherstories.net/services.
There you go. And I don't know where I was at last week with the anthology, but I have now finished reading all the stories. I have notified everybody. And I am in the process. So I've been giving feedback to patrons, only patrons, just because there were a lot of people and I can't give feedback to everybody. So yeah, I've got a couple left to do. But because that has gone through the next, like that's finished around, that has also been a bit of a closing off. Now, obviously that still needs to go through like the next round of edits and the next phase, but I'm putting a pause on that until November. So that will happen then. Yeah. And then like the biggest piece for me this week is that I finally unlocked Trey, the book that has been killing me for 3 years, and basically made a decision to finish out the series with this book. So I have got to add probably another 20k to the end of the book, but that's it. And then it's done. Like I've got to rejig a few things. That's what that is. This morning I was just re-outlining so I can make sure the timeline is right. So once I've done that, hopefully next week I will be focusing on that. So yeah, like I have, and I've like shut down, like there's a deal thing going on in the background. I've given that to a thing that I can't talk about. So that's sort of been shut down as well. In that it's not on my shoulders anymore. I finished all my presentations. I've just got to write some notes for one of the other sessions. I might have to tweak a couple of slides, but more or less I've finished all my presentations. So I've got one that I'm presenting at this weekend, one that's in October, and I'm more or less done. And like, so that is another thing that I shut down. And I just like, I cannot, like my achiever is so happy. Yeah, that is literally what I feel like. So I'm like going into next week with a few things that need tweaking and polishing and finishing off, and then more or less Trey is going to be the only thing that I work on for like the whole of October. And Ellie is so awesome that she's agreed to compete with me in October. So I know. So
is she high competition?
No, but she has other things like maximizer, possibly developer. I can't remember if she has developer, but like things where she wants to help people do the thing. And I think she has high focus. So she wants to also get like 20k done. So she was like, well, if it helps you, let's make it into a competition. And I was like, okay. So yeah. Anyway, so suffice to say, it's a very long 2-minute update, but like I'm fucking smashing the shit out of closing stuff down, and it is glorious.
Long overdue.
So overdue.
Yeah, love it. Congratulations, that's awesome. Proud of you. Making it all happen. I don't even know, like I'll full disclosure for people listening to this episode, I woke up like 2 minutes before we were due to record, just because this week for some reason it's just been really long for me. And we had our NLA live on Thursday, and one of the things that one of our wonderful patrons in there said about how do you basically get energy back, how do you energize yourself? And I responded with something that's been a bit of a revelation to me, and is something that like I count my weird week towards, which is I've discovered about myself that I very much do like being in control of my week. And like obviously there are parts of your job that you have to do anyway, because you know it's just you have to keep on top of things, and you have to do certain things because that's part of your job.
Yeah.
But like I like those when they're like to do with the things that centered around my why, coming back to kind of like what you're saying about, you know, it makes sense to like peel away the stuff that doesn't actually take you to where you want to go. But it has just been one of those weeks where like a few different things have popped up, like my schedule has changed because of XYZ, and like it's had a long run effect on me. So I've not really had any me time this week, which I really, really do crave. And there's a few different things for that. Number one is like my week started a bit later because of reasons that were outside of our control. I had a number of different meetings and things booked in that I basically said yes to a lot of things this week because I finished the deadline on the book last week. And I was like, oh, that's cool, because this week I can then do those things. And so they've kind of like stacked up and shifted my general routine. And then I'm going to say this a bit quieter because my dad's next door, but he's building a pagoda in the garden, which is now apparently my project as well. So any spare time I would have had, I'm out in the garden, like digging and putting bits of wood together, which is one of those things like, realistically, I don't mind. It's just that it's been this week where I've like really needed those pockets of time and haven't been able to get them. So it was literally like I was about to sit down and just like read Tuesday or Wednesday. And then suddenly I'm like being called and I'm like, because I'm not going to help. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going to take a few weeks to do, but it's just, like I say, it's one of those where there is no downtime at the minute.
Yeah. I feel that. I've had lots of evenings this week, and because I have to go to bed earlier, I have to go to bed about 10:30, 11 at the latest to get 6 or 7 hours sleep because of Silent September. I have not been reading, and
it really hurts me. I didn't realize like how much it would hurt me.
Well, so I've had a few realizations. Obviously, in the Next Level Authors Patreon Q&A, I was talking about how I'd realized that TV doesn't really give me any energy, pennies, like only reading does. I went back to my strengths report and it literally says in there, you devour the written word. And I was like, yeah, I do.
Now
like,
we do.
Yeah, and that's why I do, because it generates energy for me in a way that TV doesn't. But the thing is, not only do I need to read for energy, I am also judging multiple things. And
You need to read.
Yeah, I actually now have 13 days and I still have like 3.75 books to read. And like, yeah, I know. And so I'm twitching a little bit now. I'm like, oh, because I'm actually going to rearrange a podcast that I'm meant to be doing next week, because I need every single evening to just smash through these books now. So yeah, I need to write that down, because I've got to do that today, because I cannot afford any more evenings where I am doing shit.
Yeah.
Like I need all of my evenings to read. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so suffice to say, it's been a bit of a weird week. Weird Week t-shirts are available on our Redbubble merch store. What have you enjoyed this week?
Oh shit. I have enjoyed
a number of things by the sounds of it.
Yeah, that's why I'm struggling, because like all of the things. I have enjoyed. Oh, you go first. Sorry.
So mine actually isn't a thing from this week, but it's something that happened a couple of weeks ago that I keep every week when we finish recording the show. I'm like, why have I not mentioned this yet? Because this was really, really huge for me and for the other guys at Hawk and Cleaver. We won an award. And I feel like really shit for not mentioning it, because like it was, so This Is Horror is a podcast and a horror site that reviews and does all this sort of like amazing stuff. The guy who runs This Is Horror, Michael David Wilson, is a good personal friend of mine and Hawk and Cleaver itself. And his show, This Is Horror, they interview like authors every week. They've had some amazing sort of talent within horror and even outside of horror on there. So one of the big ones that he had this year, I think it was he interviewed Chuck Palahniuk, which was an amazing interview if you ever get a chance to listen to that. And they run This Is Horror Awards every year. And since the Other Stories podcast, which is the fiction podcast that I run with the Hawk and Cleaver guys, launched in 2016, we've basically been nominated like pretty much every year to win the Fiction Podcast of the Year award. And we've never quite got it. We've always been sort of just pipped to the post by Welcome to Night Vale or the No Sleep podcast, who are huge, and they do some like fantastic stuff in the horror space. And this year we won. We found out a couple of weeks ago that we won the podcast, the award as Fiction Podcast of the Year. And me and Luke went on to This Is Horror alongside a load of other people within the horror realm who won their awards to do the show and to chat to Michael and Bob. And yeah, just it's really nice to get that kind of like validation from the horror community that, you know, the Other Stories is putting some amazing stuff out there. And like I definitely am less involved than I used to be, but Carl and Luke put in a hell of a lot of work, and I know that Luke listens to this every week, so hey buddy. But yeah, those two guys really do keep it running. Luke does all like the production and keeps on with he does like all the bits behind the scenes. He's the voice of the show. And then Carl, who, as we mentioned earlier, is doing all your audiobook stuff, does like some amazing stuff just with audio in general. So yeah, we won an award and we're very happy about it.
That is amazing.
An award-winning podcast.
Yeah, huge congratulations. That is absolutely fantastic. I hope you're going to put that on your like annual review. Make sure you put that on your wins list.
Yeah, it goes everywhere.
Huge congratulations. Now you're going to want something from me. God damn it. There's literally nothing I haven't enjoyed this week.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
I've enjoyed Silent September.
Whoa.
I know. So we had a conversation this morning about what was going to happen. And it's really difficult because I love everything about Silent September except the mornings.
So move the time. It's still going to be silent. It won't be September.
that's when they can do, like, that's because, you know, a lot of the people doing Silent September still have day jobs. So I don't know, like
Evenings.
Yeah, but lots of people have stuff in the evening, don't they? Lots of people have, you know, like families that they need to.
This was my real kicker with like,
including me.
Yeah, this was the real kicker with like arranging times for when I originally started doing boot camps and stuff. Was there's no right time that's going to capture everyone, and it's a proper killer. But whatever time you do pick, the people who can make it will find you.
So I think what I've decided on Silent September is that I'm having October off, because I need to read and I need to input and I need to recharge my batteries. And I do that best in the evening. And depending on how I do next month with my words and projects, if I get Trey finished next month, which is my goal, I might do it. I might do Nano and I might do it for Nano.
What I'm hearing is you're doing Nano.
No. What I would like to do, though, is a night November rather than a morning November, because like A, alliteration, and B, I don't know, but I don't think that's gonna, I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, it really depends.
Dawn December.
Fuck that. Yeah, so I don't know, like I have enjoyed everything. I have adored closing down projects. I cannot, like, it's practically orgasmic, the level of joy and ecstasy that I have received.
It has been months in the work.
Like, isn't it funny that
it's
so
a year
many
at
things,
least.
Yeah, it is. And I can't believe that so many things are closing down at the same time. But what this tells me is that I opened up a load of stuff at the same time. It's just such a revelation to me that whilst I need like 2 or 3 projects on the go, I can't have like 5 or 10 on the go.
Revelation.
Yeah, I know. It's like
I can only juggle so much. Who knew?
Oh, Dan, Mike genuinely is a revelation to me.
I have limits.
I literally didn't know I had a limit. Like, who knows that? Like, what?
It's a wonder.
I know. I'm like so surprised by this information. Oh God. Yeah. So like, I'm not going to do that again, and I'm going to be incredibly careful about what I take on, because I have a higher purpose. And so that is, like I am full of joy and positivity this week. So yeah.
And for me, it's because I can't remember what episode it was. Hold on, because I've got a thing here. Number 1, I wanted to mention episode 67. What is your relationship with no? Since you were talking about your relationship with no earlier, and I think that'd be a good one just for people to listen to in general, because I think it's really important. And we also, I can't remember, it was an episode where we were talking about like whys and goals and things. And my analogy for that is always like, if you're stranded out in the middle of the ocean, if you know where your North Star is, you can always like head in that direction, and then left or right or anything else that pops over, you can basically just say no to. So whenever I think of like, you know, what is this going to serve my like greater purpose, that's always like the vision that comes into my head is like, is it going to get me there? And if it's a no, or even if it's like a kind of like tentative maybe, just like slash it, because you want to be sure that you're going in that direction. So I love that. Weekly confessional. Dan will reach out to people to promote his boot camp. I have started doing that, and I've reached out to some people. I'm still, that's going to be an ongoing thing, because I'm just trying to like take it as far and wide as possible. And get started on creating resources for my NaNoWriMo preppers free 5-day challenge, which I'm running from the 11th to the 15th of October, which I started doing that yesterday actually, and I had like a good couple of hours in which I just sat down and started creating the resources. And it's 5 days worth of content. There's going to be sort of like sheets and videos and tasks and things. And I'm going to be honest, I'm really, really enjoying this. Like the last time I've done anything like this, it was about, I want to say 2019, me and Luke ran a how to write a short horror story in 5 days course on Facebook. And we had like a private group, and we did sort of like videos and things like that. And I think this is something, number one, it's nice because as part of it, I'm going back and sort of really refreshing what my mindset was when I did my first ever nano. Because obviously the people coming into the Preppers Challenge, it's likely going to be their first nano, or, you know, they quote failed, although I never count like not reaching nano as a failure. But they're going to be people that need that help. And so I've gone back and really digging into what my first nano experience was. And I failed the first year, again, quote failure, because I still think writing 33,000 words in a month is incredible. And yeah, I'm just using a lot of that to sort of like build the resources. And I'm really sort of like digging into it and tailoring what that 5-day course is going to look like in terms of, because I know what each day structure is. I've just got to break down the actual content for the thing. And it's obviously something that I can then reuse each year. And I'm thinking of like ways to repurpose the content. And then it's still going to be useful again for when it comes to the actual nano bootcamp, in which I can use the stuff that I'm creating to then energize and sort of like, tailor what I'm doing to help the campers. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, but that's done. Well, I've started. I've got 4 more days to do yet. Sacha, gone.
Cool. I have it for once.
Ooh.
I know. Oh. Sacha will create an L/BYA list, work on the audio book, and work on shutting down tasks for others. Well, that is a fucking bish bash bosh on that bad boy. I did create a list of lesbian and bisexual young adult books. I would like to ask if anybody has any recommendations. Please, 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 can you send them to me? Eventually, I am going to be sharing this list in a certain way. Mm-hmm. So anything that you give will be given back, which is great. I got just under 100 books. All but one were trad published. So I'm really looking for any young adult authors who write lesbian or bisexual, characters who are indie. That would be even better if anybody knows of anybody.
Now, question, as someone who is oblivious to a lot of this stuff and trying to learn, is the fact that 99% of those being trad in some way a positive thing?
It's neither here nor there to me. It's just interesting information to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why that is the case. And I, at the moment, feel like it's just because I haven't looked hard enough, or I haven't put in the right search terms, or I refuse to believe that there's nobody writing young adult lesbian and bisexual books who's an indie author. That just can't possibly be, unless it is. Don't know. So yeah, like I have got a list of a lot of books, and I am going to be plowing my way through them. So yes, I finished the audiobook. So check. Work on shutting down tasks for others. Boom, boom, boom. So yeah, I like smashed out last week.
I'm still waiting on that thing that I asked you to do.
What thing?
It's a couple of things.
You're taking the piss.
A little bit. And then our joint action was to arrange a strategy day, which we have sorted for the 4th of October.
Yep.
We're going to go to a coffee shop or somewhere, and we're going to just take some time to strategize on business and shit. We'll do some pre-planning. In Patreon news, welcome to the Madhouse, Jen Randall and Janelle Hardacre. You get access to all of our episodes early before they even come out to the public stream, and you also can get involved in our live Q&As. We had one on last Wednesday, and we've also got our next one on October the 20th. So tune in for that, and you are much appreciated for helping support the show and keep the lights on.
Yep. We love you.
Nice and simple.
Yeah.
So my notice for this week, I'm going to once again shout out my bootcamp stuff, specifically my Preppers Challenge. It's so, if in case I haven't said it clearly enough already, I on the 11th to the 15th of October will be running a free 5-day challenge to help anyone who's looking to get involved in NaNoWriMo this year get absolutely prepared and get their mindset ready and to know the obstacle that they're facing. I know that when I did my first nano, I had no idea of what to expect for those first sort of 30 days. And there really is a, what I'd argue, quite a consistent sort of like up and down in terms of how you go through the month. And I've got a bunch of strategies to help people get through and to pull through the hard times. Most people generally tend to fail or at least quit on day 3. So if we can get you past that, then that's kind of huge. But the 5-day challenge, it's not a load of work. It's just literally a bunch of resources and things and interactive challenges to help you get prepared, to know what's coming ahead. And I've done it a couple of weeks ahead of Nano because I figured it then gives you a couple of weeks to actually digest that information. And, any homework that you need to do, you can actually set up, because you don't run a marathon by arriving at the start line. You prepare. So that's what this course is. And you can find out more about that over at activatedauthors.com/nano. Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Keepers, my first book, is on sale right now. It is 99p. So if you like kind of guilty pleasure, teen fantasy, save the world stakes, forbidden romance, in a world ruled by fate with steampunk trains and all of that good stuff, then you can go grab yourself a copy of Keepers for 99p. And I'm actually in a gigantic multi-author promo.
We should mention that.
Yeah, we should. So not only is my book on sale, but Jenna Moressi's The Saviour's Champion and The Saviour's Sister also on sale. That is dark fantasy, like blood, big competitions, forbidden love, all of that kind of good stuff.
Badass is what it is.
Yeah. Then there's some book by some author, something to do with like Wilcox or something.
When Winter Comes is involved in the sale
no
as
one
well.
really cares about horror,
And
so there's that.
Just very, very quickly, tangentially, that is something that I've not mentioned, is I've released a book this week. So as you were, carry on. That's why I'm probably so tired as well.
Yeah. So Dan's epic 120,000 word, whatever, book about horror and like monsters and shit. That's out. It's really well written, probably. So
this is why you're not my PR manager.
And then we've got Soul Taken by Caitlin Duncan. And I know, is it Katie Duncan though?
I'll double check that one very quickly.
Double check that whilst I'm talking. And so that is young adult paranormal, and is awesome. It's about like soul reapers, and there's like there's humans and soul reapers and
Katie.
Katie, yeah, okay, there we go. And then what else? There is Iona Whalen's Ashes. I don't know as much about that book. That is also dark kind of fantasy. I love the cover though, I do know that much. And then we have Helen Scheurer, and her Oromir Chronicles, the first book, Heart of Mist, which I actually have on my shelf that I really want to read this year. Although I might read Lair of Bones first, I'm not sure.
I'm reading Lair of Bones.
You're reading Lair of Bones? What now?
I mean, I'm doing a podcast right now, but yeah, it's currently a read on my Kindle.
As in, it's the book that you're reading right now?
Correct.
That doesn't make me feel competitive. I want to read it.
You're reading a book that I have and I own that I haven't yet read.
I know.
Are you fucking high?
No, it's not. I want to read it. It's not fair. I've got so many other fucking books I have to read.
Well, I'll finish it before you do.
Yes, I know. That's what's annoying me.
And they like lord it over you. I didn't realise this would be such a sore spot.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it so far. It's really good.
I know. She's a really good writer. That's why I want to read it. I know. I've read like snippets of it, and like I'm really jealous. Anyway, whatever. So basically, there's loads of books on sale.
I'll drop a link in the show notes.
Yeah.
Because it's all on Jenna's site. But that promo ends on the 29th of September, so make sure you grab them while they're hot. What else have we got on this little list of ours? Level ups. Over to you, Sacha.
Oh.
You said you had it.
I didn't say that. I said I needed one. And
okay.
It's not quite the same thing. Okay. John Cronshaw. My fantasy series box set got put into Prime Reads in the US. Fuck. Only had other countries before, so we'll see whether that moves the needle. Also fixed a Nightmare co-authored novel that became a solo novel and sent it to the editor yesterday. Also sent the first book in a new Assassin's Fantasy series and wrote the first 2 chapters for book 2. He won. That's fucking amazing.
John's a badass.
Yeah, he must be prolific. That sounds prolific. Does he write full time?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to check out.
They are very, very good reads. So I met John through the post-apoc space. He's got a series, Wizard of the Wasteland, which was fantastic. And he's done a little bit of lit RPG as well. He's done a Blind Gambit series, which is also fantastic. And his Ravenglass Chronicles, which are the fantasy series that he's talking about, just absolutely smashing and killing in the genre. And it's really cool as well, because I know that you're kind of interested, I guess, in tarot. And the Ravenglass series is basically each book was dictated by a tarot card that he pulled at random that then like kind of led the story. So he's got about 20 odd books in that series that are just sort of constantly just selling and doing really, really well. But it's worth checking out, because that was John's was also the model that I took for When Winter Comes, in terms of like the shorter episodic releases. And he's doing fantastic things in that space. So congrats, buddy. Glad to hear it's all going well for you.
Is that John is that the Scottish John?
No, that's John Brennan.
Okay. Okay.
This is if I get this wrong, it's going to upset him. I'm really sorry, John. Birmingham, I think there's a Brummie accent in there somewhere.
Yeah, I do know John Cronshaw's. Now I'm looking at the work, I recognise it. So I think just because they're both called John and they both got a surname beginning with C, I mixed up who they were.
A lot of Johns out there.
I put the wrong work with the wrong face. But yeah, I know who this John is also.
Yes. So congrats, John. That's awesome. This, I guess, is our final reminder for the Level Up Challenge, because by the time we record next week's episode, it'll actually be the final day of that challenge. So there might be one extra week in there. But, you know, we're hearing lots of good things about people nearing the end of their challenges. You're looking worried. Have you done yours?
Mine was just to input, and I didn't specify any amount. I have input. Ironically, I've done less than I did in other months, but
it's a failure in my mind. I'll buy you some eggs.
It's not a failure. However, motherfucker, I am going to make up for it in the final quarter of this year, because I am going fucking hard or going home, baby. So
I'm ready for this.
It is so fucking on for the end of this year. I am telling you, it is.
I am ready for this. And mine was, I will launch The Thing, and The Thing equals activated authors, as we learned last week, and that is rolling and that is doing stuff, and I'm having a lot of fun right now playing in that sandbox. So Level Up Challenge, really is your last week to get things done, unless you want to be juggling eggs, preferably in your living room, although we haven't specified that anywhere. I'm just evil like that. Comments. Last week's question, why community?
All right, so we had a ton of comments. So Amy Sun said, brilliant episode. Yes, even the sweaty eyeballs part. Caitlin Duncan said, sometimes we all get sweaty eyeballs and it's okay. Edwin said, as I've said before, I'm a people pleaser, which by definition requires that I have people around me. That being said, I've always been a hanger-on rather than a valuable member of any such community. Oh, I disagree. I value you, Edwin, so I'm not having that nonsense.
I'll pop that in the comments as well. Everyone needs an Edwin.
Yeah, they do. They really fucking do. Like, he makes me feel valued, so I'm not having that. Even my many outreaches through social media feel more like the same old than the acquisition of any real connections. I can emphasize with Sacha's statement on how she found community when she stopped trying. Not all community per se, but I have never won recognition or an award for something that I set my mind on. But I have had recognition laid on me after I stopped to ask myself the question, am I having fun doing this? Then giving up on those things that generated a no answer. So I'm just going to pause here, which I didn't know I was going to do, but I think that Edwin doesn't realize how valuable he is. I have known Edwin, even though he didn't know who I was, since I listened.
The right as well.
Yeah. Exactly. He is such a fucking valuable member of the community. Like, through his consistency, like, he always comments, and I don't think people understand how much I value them commenting and making thoughtful.
That's huge, just knowing people are out there.
Yeah.
And actually giving a response. Yeah.
Like, and it's hard because, you know, we get so many comments on different things that I literally can't reply to all of them, but I read all of them and I appreciate all of them. So if perhaps I've missed a comment or I haven't like replied to somebody or whatever, like, please know that I have read it and I appreciate it and I appreciate you and you are valued, because it's comments like that that keep people like us going. So yeah, I just wanted to stop and say that. Okay, Emily Han, this episode hit close to home. You've probably figured out this already, but those people who stopped talking to you after you had your son were never your real friends, Sacha. They just wanted accessories for their party. I've always felt like I stood apart from the rest of society, even from as young as 5 years old. Maybe that's part of why we feel the need to create stuff. We hope to express something, pardon me, from the inside, and someone else will say, hey, I feel that too, or even just, I like that. P.S. I usually listen to all your episodes twice, but I rewound this one about 4 times because I really thought Dan said he wrote 75,000 words in a day.
No, it was 80.
CJ Dainton said, oh my gosh, Sacha broke my heart with her sweaty eyeballs. I mean, onion sprinklers. I mean, the ice that rattled inside the empty cage of her heart. Can totally relate. Made me wonder if she is an Enneagram 4. We don't often feel like we belong and yet want to. Yet we don't want to because we don't need people, yet we crave connection. It's tricky. I don't actually know what Enneagram I am.
I did mine years ago. I can't remember.
No. Okay, so we've got comments from Meg and from Scott, and then we also had comments from Cassie on Patreon. Yeah, and then we also had comments on YouTube as well, but I think I might stop there just because that's quite a lot of comments I've read out.
But thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And just back on the whole, like, when you stop trying, you find the thing that you're looking for. Like, I wholeheartedly believe that, because like it implies, when you say stop trying, it implies that you were trying to put on some kind of facade. And then you're not attracting the right people to you anyway. And that's why those relationships never seem to last as well. Whereas if you stop trying, people see the authentic you, and then you draw the people that are authentically matched to who you are. So it seems like a really weird thing, because I think it's the same with like relationships as well. When I've really tried to like be a thing in a relationship, that's when it's always gone the worst. And when you start going like, and knowing who you are and going, fuck it, then you can things just go a lot better.
Yeah, I think that's why I love my wife so much, because she loves me for who I am, and I love her for who she is. And like, and I know, of course, that's what you do it with the people that you marry, but like,
or should
really, truly,
I've seen lots of non-examples of that.
Yeah, but like, you know, like she has command, self-assurance, significance in her. I think it's command, significance, self-assurance, but like, even the things that some people say are bad, like, you know, people saying, oh, your personality is a risk to your reputation, ex wanker boss. That's the bit she loves. And like, you know, yeah, I don't know. I love her arrogance. I don't want to say arrogance, but you know, like, I love her confidence and her commanding. Like, she's a fucking powerhouse woman, and I love that. So yeah, I'm like dribbling over my wife.
There you go. Emotionless, heartless Sacha.
Oh fuck, I've done it again. God damn
it. Okay, question of the week is one that I am shamelessly stealing from the incredible Tim Ferriss, because he is, number one, he's an interviewer who I aspire to be to like his level, because he has such thoughtful, such sort of provocative questions. And also, I just love this question in general, and I think there's so much sort of like value behind it, and it could be very useful to our audience. So the question is, what is the book or books you've given most as a gift, and why?
There's a couple. So I gave Glennon Doyle's Untamed to quite a few women. Gave a copy to my mum, copy to my friend, in fact, a copy to a couple of friends. So I'm wondering if that might, and I don't necessarily think I did that on purpose. It's just that she is so insightful. She does what I would like to do. And what I think we are getting to, and what this strength stuff is doing. Like, I know, I remember you saying like epiphanies are exhausting, but I love them.
I'm not saying they're not useful. I'm just saying they're freaking exhausting.
They are, but like I love epiphanies because it means I'm growing and I'm outside my comfort zone. But Glennon Doyle has this ability to reflect and capture the heart of what being real and being human and feeling is all about in a way that is so relatable and so universal that everybody, male, female, gender in between, can relate to. And I didn't necessarily get anything new from Untamed, but I felt this deep sense of understanding, like being understood and being seen. Yeah, kinship from that book. And like also, oh, fuck.
We pause our program for a moment so Sacha can have yet another epiphany.
Do you know what this epiphany is?
No.
Do you know what her story is?
That she never quite fit in?
She was married to a man. Do you know who she's married to now?
A woman.
I really need to finish Trey so I can write some lesbian books. Like, of course, the book appealed to me. Of course it fucking did. Oh, for God's sake.
You read with blinkers on.
I must do. Like, but I read it so long ago and before I had the epiphanies, like about that stuff. And like, obviously it was appealing to something on a, like, I really genuinely thought it was appealing to me but like, oh, it wasn't. It must have been appealing to me on that level as well. Anyway, suffice to say, I'm so cross on myself right now. Yeah, suffice to say, she's amazing. And I love her insights. And like, I don't know if this is just a thing about American people, but I feel like American people are better at talking about their feelings. Like their culture is much more, let's talk about this. Whereas I feel like and this is a very sweeping generalization, I do kind of feel like in Britain, we are taught to suck it up and stiff up a lip, and we don't talk about things that are, you know, emotive in that way. And I just love how they are able to capture themselves and like that reflection. So anyway, suffice to say, I gave away a few copies of that. The other book or person whose books I tend to either recommend the most, and I think I have given a few copies of, but not necessarily one particular one, is Joanna Penn's books. I am constantly recommending Joanna Penn's books for people who are coming into this business. Pardon me, hiccups. So yeah, I would say Joanna Penn's books as well. I feel like there are probably some others in there, but this is one of those things where I am senile and it's really hard for me to remember. Did I send you a book once? What did I send you? I can't remember what I sent you.
You sent me a few books over the years. You sent me one of the Dear Writers.
Oh yeah.
Because we were talking about quite a big discussion about writer's block. And there was another one as well.
Yeah, I did the grave, whatever it was, but that was more about, that was
Graveyard book.
Yeah, that's not included because
I love that book.
What? The Graveyard book?
Oh, I know. Sorry, I'm thinking of a different one. But yes.
Yeah, so I don't know that I...
Golden Apple.
Yes, that was the other one.
The Golden Apple.
Yeah, no, that you're the only person I sent that to. Yes,
and I am thankful for that. That unlocked a lot of stuff.
Good. Yeah, so in a really individualization way, I think, because I do give a lot of books as gifts, but I think that I don't necessarily default to giving one book as a gift. I try to find the book that person needs the most in that moment and give that. So I don't know that I default to giving one book. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So the main one we've got out of that is obviously Joanna Penn's, which I agree with. Her books are always sort of jam-packed full of not only like useful information, but current information, because she does go through and updates them quite regularly. I think everyone who listens to this show will probably know Joanna's name. And Untamed is one that I've not yet read myself, but I have heard a lot of good things about it. To me, I don't know if this does go in the same category, but I read this year I read Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic by recommendation from a friend, and that unlocks a lot of stuff. That had a very sort of similar like kinship vibe, because it was very much, it's almost like I give you permission to be creative in your own individual way, which is wonderful.
Her kiss story that went to the other person is one of my favorite stories about creativity that I've ever read.
Yeah. Lush. So mine, I've got so a handful of non-fic and then a few horror as well. So I'll just start and go through it. Number one is Fuck It by Robert C. Parkin, which I read when I was 17. And I can't remember if I've mentioned this on the show before, but it was a book that kind of unlocked a lot of, it basically gave me a lot of permission to just do things my way. So the principle of Fuck It is that it's kind of, he emphasizes how in every religion and every culture, there's a kind of moment where you let go of something and you can feel the weight shifting. So if you you're stuck in traffic and you're really pissed off, and then you suddenly flip that switch in your brain that says, okay, I can't do anything about this. I'm just going to sit back and just take off that weight. I'm going to be late for work anyway. In modern society, where we are generally less religious as a culture, we tend to say fuck it. So if we're stuck in traffic, we're like, oh, we're gonna be late for work, beep, beep, beep. And then we just go, oh, fuck it. What does it matter? It's that letting go. It's the permission that those two words tend to give us as Westerners to just let go. And it's a book that is sort of divided into lots of different chapters. So it's got sort of relationships and finance and health and all this different stuff. And it's basically sort of saying fuck it to each of these things. So if you're in a relationship where you're unhappy, and you get to the point where, I don't know, you're thinking of ending it or something needs to change, it generally is oh, fuck it, I'm just going to do this. So it kind of just breeds that principle. And when I was 17, I was, and I've sort of discussed this in things before, but I went through sort of about 6 or 7 months of being heavily solipsistic, which is basically a kind of mental phase where you believe that you're the only real thing in the world and everything else is sort of made up to test you. And isn't quite it's almost it's kind of just a figment of your imagination and you're just floating through life. And I spent a lot of time at the end of each day kind of just overanalyzing every interaction I'd had that day with a person. And I think there are many factors of that. Number one, obviously puberty. Number two, you've got I moved from a very sort of stable area that I'd been in for 16 years to a brand new area and was surrounded with lots of new people. And I was really sort of struggling to try and find what my identity was among all these people that were also trying to find their own identity. So I read this book around that point, and it really kind of just gave me permission to go it doesn't matter what they're doing. All that matters is what I do and what I decide to do with my time. And all of those things that I'm kind of putting pressure on that are stupid's the wrong word, but I can't think of another word. I read that book and it kind of just unlocked that and gave me permission to be me. And I've gifted that to quite a few people over the years because I think it's just one of those books that's he frames it in a way that is really relatable and it makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure you've had moments before where you've been really enraged about something and you've gone, just fuck it, it doesn't matter. And it's just you feel that weight lift off your shoulders. So that's one of them, Fuck It by Robert C. Parkin. And I am noting all of these to put links in the show notes for people who do want to check out these books. Number two, I don't think it's a surprise to say Stephen Pressfield's War of Art.
I nearly said that one.
I've given that to a lot of creatives, mostly because, and to be fair, I used to read this twice a year and I haven't yet read this year and I might go back and revisit. But for me, it preached or tried to teach me the difference between when I'm procrastinating and when it's when I'm taking purposeful rests, and like it, I don't know how to explain this other than to like say read the book, but it's really one of those books where it tells you that you shouldn't just wait for the muse. Like you have to build a habit to be creative, and it's like sometimes it's going to be hard, sometimes it's going to be easy, but it was one of those that it speaks in a way that's really, it just gets that message across. And I think for any writer looking to do this as a sustainable long-term career, the War of Art really sort of frames things in a way that gives you permission to just keep going even on the days when it's hard.
Yeah, I think that it is Marmite though, because there are a few books that do that, and not all of them do it in the tone of that book.
There's quite a religious lilt to it. It's quite a Christian book in some ways, especially sort of the latter half of the book, which I don't generally flare with, but in general the principles, they linked for me. But no, I agree, there are some people that are a bit off that book, but it's worth checking out. It's only a short book as well, so you don't really lose much in terms of daylight. And then the last nonfiction that I recommend from my side that I've also gifted to quite a few people. I just remembered another one, which I'll nod on.
Another one.
This is Marketing by Seth Godin, because I feel like
I hated that book.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we really are chalk and fucking cheese.
I know. Why are we even friends anymore?
No idea. So for me, This is Marketing. I have a real issue with people who view marketing through a very business focused lens and see marketing as the sell, as the data, as like everything. And don't get me wrong, that's obviously like a part of marketing. That's like sort of the tactics and the stuff that you need to actually like gauge and measure. And it's the tactile stuff that helps you improve your marketing. And, you know, what's the point in marketing your stuff if you're not trying to sell? But I don't think this comes as any surprise to anyone that for me, This is Marketing is a mindset book, and it preaches the culture of what positive marketing is. And Seth Godin is famously the person who talks about finding your tribe. So instead of trying to appeal to like thousands and thousands of people, try and find your smallest viable audience, because in doing that, you create sort of a group of hardcore fans that, you know, you can interact with, they'll sustain your career and all that kind of stuff. And This is Marketing teaches much more of like the headspace and the mentality about like doing good with marketing, rather than I think what has traditionally been marketing seen as quite a negative part of business, where it's almost like manipulative and you're kind of like trying to trick people into buying stuff. It's not that at all. It's community, it's positivity, it's just all the good stuff that kind of like I believe in terms of like how you should sell products that mean something. And Seth Godin's just one of these people who he's intelligent, he's thoughtful, he's always got sort of like a very, very relatable analogy for what he's talking about. And that it just really, really resonated with me. And I've given that to quite a few people as well.
I do like Seth Godin. I just didn't like that book.
Fair. It's not for everyone. I think it is.
I just connected with some of his other stuff more.
Purple Cow, Tribes
I liked. Yeah, there was marketing. All marketers are liars, or whatever it was.
No, I read that one. To give that a go. One that I'll mention that I won't go deeply into. Simon Sinek, Start with Why.
Yeah.
I think fundamental for anyone looking to find their purpose and understand like how you build something around a cause rather than sort of like, again, a manipulation tactic.
Yeah, I read that this year.
Oh, yeah.
It's
great. Yeah. And then just two very quick ones that whenever it comes to sort of like horror readers who are asking for recommendations of like good horror, number one, anything by Nick Cutter. Nick Cutter is the pen name of, I want to say, Craig Davidson.
Craig David. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure it's Craig Davidson who there is an old episode of our podcast where me and Luke have chatted to him. Amazing conversation. And he has a number of books. I'd highly recommend The Troop, and I'd highly recommend Little Heaven, because both of those books are masterclasses in how you incorporate the senses into a book. So it's not just, you know, number one, the stories are incredible, and his writing and prose is just exquisite. But it's one of those books, or it's those types of books that you read it and you feel like in all of your senses, like you can smell the things, you can hear the things, you can taste the things. And he's very specific about trying to inject that into you, get this all-round experience of what the characters are going through. So, I mean, they are quite dark. So if you are averse to horror, I wouldn't recommend them. But if you can survive a bit of horror and you're looking for like help with senses and stuff, then check those out. And the other one is Adam Neville's The Ritual, because he just, number one, it's an incredible book. And I was kind of like gripped from the start. But number two, he's very good at playing with tense and POV to really try and like build the horror. So most of it is in third person, past tense, omniscient. And then there's a couple of chapters where it just sneaks into first person present. And the way that he does it, it's not egregious. It's not like all over the book. It's a couple of chapters, but it just disorientates you and really adds to what he's trying to do. So it's quite playful in sort of switching POVs and just playing with prose. So I recommended those to a lot of people.
So the one that, so I haven't brought this, I don't think, for anyone yet, but I think it goes down as my most recommended book this year and will probably be one of my most recommended books.
Self-Publishing Blueprint by Daniel Wilcox. Oh man, thank you, Sacha.
For the foreseeable future.
House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ
Yes.
Klune. Yeah. I cannot tell you the amount of people that I have pressured into buying that book. And yeah, I suspect that I will buy copies for people as and when. But yeah, that is another one.
I feel like you're the type of person that'll be really aggressive with recommendations as well. Like, have you read it yet? Have you bought it yet?
No.
Come on, I'm waiting.
No. No. Yeah. No, I don't think I am. No.
Okay.
I'm just like, what I really, really, really like doing is finding that book that person needs. And then it has some kind of like impact on them. And then they come back and they're like, oh, I love that book. Or, oh, it got me back reading. Oh, I just remembered actually another person that I gave Untamed to. So that probably is the one that I reckon I've given to the most people. Yeah.
There we go. So our question to you guys this week is, what is the book or books you've given most as a gift and why? And I'm going to look forward to this because there could be some good ones there, so rather than already overspilling TBR. But yeah, get them over on the comments in all the usual places. And Sacha, how are you leveling up your business this week?
So I figured that out before this episode and I've forgotten what I was going to say. I am going to do enough outlining that I can start editing / drafting Trey. So that's one thing. Get to the point where I can hit go on that book. I am going to continue shutting down tasks because I still have to shut things down. I'm going to read as much of the Kindle Storyteller books as I possibly can. And depending on Carl, I'm hoping I will be able to upload the audiobook, but that's not dependent on me. So I don't know if I should put that down. We can put that down as a maybe, like if it comes, then I can upload that. Yeah, I've already forgotten what I just said.
All the things. It's recorded. I'll write it down.
Okay.
Okay, for me, I am going to sort out the launch for the Omens Call because myself and Julie Heiner will be going live on our Horror Writers Collaborative Facebook group on the 1st of October. And Julie is absolutely slaying it with ideas of like, if you ever want to watch how someone launches a book and has a lot of fun with it, watch Julie's launches because she has like rock band, she has cocktails, like even like in person on Zoom, it doesn't matter. She just has fun with it and it's incredible. So I've kind of like let Julie lead a lot on what this launch is going to look like. And I'm sure there'll be lots of surprises, but we're chatting on Monday about what a lot of that's going to look like. So finalizing that, ready to launch an anthology, which will be a lot of fun. I'll also have done 15,000 words of ghostwriting for the new book that I'll be working on. And I will have done 3 out of 5 days worth of content finalized for the Preppers Challenge?
I need to add one. I'll have completed Silent September.
Oh, now. Yes, you will, because it'll be the 31st.
Yeah, no, it will be the 1st because September only has 30 days.
Ah, yes.
We
Oh,
might
so that's
need-
next Friday.
Yeah,
Yes.
we might need to record on a different day next week.
We can figure that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. That's exciting.
Ah,
You get your sleep back.
I know. I'm
He says.
so looking forward to sleep.
But yes, so question one more time for you guys. What is the book or books you give most as a gift and why? The promo that Sacha mentioned earlier is running until the 29th of September, so make sure you grab those books. And for now, we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hungry for more?
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can hear more of my angelic accent and Dan's dulcet tones on our other podcasts.
For more of me, check out the Great Writer Share podcast.
For more of me, listen to the Rebel Author podcast. We'll be back next week holding each other to account as Dan
And Sacha
become
Next Level
authors.
I like that you said, like, pops out, your hands just go to your boobs as well. I love when she just pops out.
She just pop. Oh, my boobies don't pop there. Full all up. Woo! And I have not even had coffee.